Hey guys, Spoonie with Shooter's Loft, and I was asked by one of the members of the forum to do a video on replacing a Glock slide stop, which is that part right here. About the only times they can usually get replaced is if the factory one breaks or if you're going to an extended stop. So that's what we're going to do today. First and foremost, I do want to let you guys know that if you do your own work on a Glock and you're not a Glock armor, Glock will void your warranty. How they find out that you're doing it, I don't know. Of course, mine was voided long ago when I did all this grip work on it, but neither here nor there, just to let you guys know, that way you don't come back whining and complaining if you send your Glock back to the factory and they say, no, we're not covering it because you did your own work. Just to let you know, they will void it. So whenever you're doing this replacement, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your magazine well is empty of no magazine and your chamber is clear. Chamber's clear. Go ahead and remove any weapon lights to give yourself some room to work, and that way you don't damage anything. Then you want to take off your slide. Okay, slides off, you set off to the side. The only thing you're going to need is the frame. Okay, now what we're going to actually be removing is this top pin and the bottom pin. When you're taking it apart, it doesn't really matter which order you go in, but the order does matter when we put it back together, and I'll show you why. So grab a Glock disassembly tool or a similar size punch. You also might need a hammer, possibly. And we're going to go ahead and actually take it apart. So the first thing you want to do, it's easier if you take out this top pin first, because it just slides on out. There's not a lot of tension on it. Then you want to take out this bottom pin. The bottom pin sometimes will come out without a hammer. Sometimes you have to use one. I don't feel like going to the garage. I don't feel like going to the garage and getting a hammer. So I'm using a 3/4 inch wrench. So anyway, use the tool. You're going to pop it out. Mine will not come out without tapping on it because my slide stop's new. So just give it a few little pops. You'll feel it move. Just grab it with a pair of pliers from the other side and it comes on out. Okay. So now we're left with this right here. Slide stop comes out, you set it off to the side. That's taking it out. Very easy. Now, when you're putting it back together, there is a little bit of a specific order you have to do things in. And the reason why is because of this spring. This spring actually rests up against this pin, which is the small pin or the top pin. And what happens is you have to put that top pin in first so that it'll push down the spring. If you don't, and you put this in and then the bottom pin or the big pin, then it doesn't go back together right, and you're probably going to break that spring. So when you're putting your new one back in, you want to take your little or your top pin and you're going to slide it through. You'll feel the pressure change on it. Just get your punch or disassembly tool and push on it, and you'll feel it change in pressure. Okay, now we're ready to actually put the slide stop back in, and the slide stop is actually going to fit down into this little channel right here on the left side of the trigger whenever you're looking at the pistol from the back. And the actual part that you're going to touch fits into that little cut right there. Okay, so we're going to slide in place. Now the other important thing to do is make sure that the spring is across the front of the slide stop like that. Sometimes they'll get shipped off to the side. If you do, then it's not going to fit in. It's going to be real tight and you're not going to get it in all the way. So you see it, just trying to get my hands out of the way here. Okay, it's in. That's all you have to do. But you see how that spring fits underneath that pin, and that's why it's important that you put the little or the top pin in first. Okay, so we've got it back to that point. You want to check through this big bottom hole for your big or your bottom pin and make sure that your spring is clear and your slide stop's lined up. You get it and you just push it back in. Sometimes if you got to tap to get it out, you're going to tap to get it back in. Now if you do this enough from cleaning it and that kind of stuff, although you shouldn't be taking it down that far to clean anyway, but about every 6 months or so you should be inspecting your pistol or having a Glock armor inspected to make sure everything's right. My point is that pin will start coming out easier. But like I said, my slide stop's new, so it isn't. Just kind of tap it a little bit. Okay, and you see it doesn't take much pressure. Just kind of grab it, push on it, and you'll feel it click into place. Check your top one. Make sure that you're in place. It'll kind of float back and forth a little bit. And then you want to check and make sure that you got good spring tension, which we do. And then you can go ahead and put it all back together. Okay, you want to check it and make sure that it is grabbing the slide as it's supposed to, which you can see mine is. Check it with a magazine also, which I don't have an empty mag around here, but do that. And that's it. And that's all there is. And you go ahead and put your weapon light back on. But that's it. That's replacing a Glock slide stop. That's all there is to it, guys. It's very easy. But again, if you do this yourself and you're not Glock armor, they will probably void your warranty. I don't know how they know. I don't know if anybody's ever actually been told no. But just to let you know, they can and they might. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, visit shootersloft.com.